All right, guys. Sadie, and I'm putting this on another channel because it's just like it's probably not good enough for the other channel because there's just more stuff. Okay, so this is the Sparky, and I need to go in here, and there's a few things that I need to work on it. I wanted to get it done before New Year's Eve. Now it's New Year's Day. And so this capacitor, I think I can just take off of there. And then I have on here, I have 320 volts together in a series, and it's 115 microfarads. And then I have 6 of those, so it's like a times 2 times 3, if you like if it was a matrix, it would be those dimensions. And I thought I could put a little more in here, but you'll be surprised at how much spark you can get out of this. This, I can't even see what it... Okay, I'm watching a painting video here too. I'm just kind of, it's just in the background. I always have to have like something in the background. I'm getting off the radio and the BBC and podcasts and going more into audiobooks and stuff. But because I figure I'd try to learn something. So I'm going to take this capacitor off because I don't think it's really adding that. I had some kind of theory about why I had this. This looks like one of those metal film ones. And I had an idea of why I had this on there. And I get one of my favorite places, if you watch any of my videos, you know that one of my favorite places is Electronics Gold Mine. And they have the Cheney electronic kits, and I usually get those. And then back in the day, a long time ago, like around 2000, I used to order from Altronics. And then there was this place in Skokie, Illinois that had miscellaneous stuff. And then, of course, Mauser and DigiKey. But I got, one day I'll do this, but I got a bunch of little tubes, not the big, just little tubes that were surplus. So I know Carrie would like those, but I could categorize all of them, by pentode or what, and kind of check them. But they just put them in like a just an envelope, like a pack envelope with the little things you can pop. And I think it's a USPS one, but they just dumped them in there and rolled it up, and I would make those videos for you guys where I kind of scroll through there and talk about it. And that's not a bad idea because you kind of get familiar with what's there. But if you're not looking for something specific, but they do have some digital electronics, a lot of switches, lights. They have a lot of LED stuff. Electronic Gold Mine. And one of the things okay, I'm talking. Okay, so I got that off. Okay, and then the other thing is like you saw a glob of solder go down on that, and we can get that off. Oh, wait, I'll try to reach over here. Okay, so yeah, so this soldering iron, I love this one, 25 watts, but I don't know if you remember from a long time ago, I had a way better one. where it had the control on it, and somehow it broke off. And I found that I had a bunch of tips for it. So I need to, the other one had the temperature control, but it broke off. You can see that. And I let it go, and I didn't care because I had this one. But I found a bunch of tips. I'll just show you because I have this all in a little thing. So I found all these tips, and lo and behold, they went to that. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And then I have this this is amazing, and I do like it because it's made this tip last for a long time. And I know you're supposed to like put solder on it when you're kind of closing up stuff, but for some reason this one's lasted a long time, so I'm like, why let it go? This is not my favorite solder, but then I'll show you guys a kit. I know I always do stuff like this, I'm sorry. Where did that kit go? And I do want to make this maybe on the other channel. So this is what I was talking about. I thought it was a 60-second timer, but it's actually a clock. So I'll try to make this on the other channel. I really do need to do that on the other channel. So I want to put this on here. And then the other problem I think with this is you can tell this. Yeah, you can just tell that moves around so much. And because I had, that's why I'm removing this capacitor, because it's not a high value. It is a high value voltage-wise, but it's not a high value capacity-wise. But there was a reason I can't remember why I had that in there. It's not totally necessary. But what's really cool about this one is it does have actual voltage. It's an actual voltmeter up to 450 volts. And you can see I've used it a bunch for Sparkies on there. There's nothing special about this switch. A lot of times I would just use the microamp meter and then just use resistors, and you could just kind of calibrate it. But this is the only time I have this, because it's so much easier to, if you see one of these old, I call these old-timey things. If you see one of these old-timey ones, it's usually a current one, and it's usually milliamps and not microamps. But you love the microamp ones because it just takes a little bit of light on a solar cell, and you don't want to waste, you don't want to use much of your power. I don't know how much this draws, but it seems like it doesn't. I know there's a way to measure that. So I guess we could just, okay, see, I'm getting distracted. This is why okay, now I'm curious about that. So I guess we just set this. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, now I know I got other stuff hooked up to that, but I just am curious about this. If will it work? This, okay, too much beeping. Yeah, I think well, I know you can't see that. It's not much fun. I'm gonna make the video way too long if I get distracted with that. Okay, the other, and then, so, yeah, so I'll just give you guys, since we do have this apart, this is one of those ZVS that they have. Now, you got to be careful because there are two different types of these where I have other ones where it doesn't. Right here is where the voltage goes in. Right there, positive and negative. It has a 10 amp fuse on it. It has a little potentiometer that you can use, one of the screw ones that goes around and around and around and around and around, and a light, and then a fan. Right, you can hook up a fan. But the point is, see some of these on Amazon, and they'll just have the ground and the positive, and some of them have the positive, the ground, and a negative one. And then I have, and this is that one. And then I have the full bridge rectifier right here. So I do have it hooked up just right between the high and the low. And then the one that um, doesn't have, that just has the ground and the positive, it doesn't have this capacitor, and then it doesn't have like one of those, it doesn't have one of those, and something else is missing there. So you know what you're getting because they print it off, but it looks very close to it, but it's not identical to it because you're missing half of the voltage. But if you don't need it, so it, at its most, it should go in theory down to like 390 volts in a ground and a positive 390, which is probably more than a lot of people need for stuff. But what's really cool about that is I've wanted to do this is make a voltage multiplier for that. But with these, you don't really need a voltage multiplier. But okay, so the other thing, so I'm concerned about that switch. I don't have a good thing for my okay, so you can tell that this is flapping around way too much, and that's because I had too much stuff packed in here. So we can just cut this off, and I'd really like this Sparky to work. So usually on these I make a hard switch. This just has the push button switch. So like you have these exposed right there and the push button switch. So if it gets put in a bag or something, it could get way more, it could easily get where it starts charging, and unbeknownst to you. And so you definitely want to put a toggle switch on there too. But since I'm aware of that, I'm not doing that. Okay, and then let me see. I have to reach for the... Oh, darn it. Okay, sorry. I have to reach over here and get these, which is my little baggy thing of... or it's a little... It has all of these in here. Plus, I have the Dremel stuff in here. I'm trying to sort... You guys, yeah, so I agree. It's really messy in here and disorganized. And I have one table that got covered up with stuff. And then I got another table that I worked at. And then that got covered up with stuff. And now I'm in my bed. And I understand you just don't even waste your time typing. I understand that doesn't make much sense. I understand that. I just don't know what to put all the... I don't know how to put all this stuff. I can sort the stuff, and I have been making progress. Okay, I'm getting off a tangent just to prove that I am making some progress. And the beauty is Ziploc bags, because I can just go ahead. I gotta skip this commercial. I don't have the ad blocker, and I don't want the ad blocker because they know you have the ad blocker, and I don't want to do that because they know. Just like just like they said with the incognito and the ad blocker, and then Apple is in trouble for something too. They know what you're doing. You can't hide from them. There's no point in it. But the repetitiveness of the YouTube commercials is just absolutely ridiculous. Not to name drop, but Apple, like, I remember Apple had a really good commercial, and then I saw another one, and it was an Apple commercial. It's like, at least make the commercials creative. You know you're getting old when you start complaining about commercials, but they're so repetitive, and it's stuff that I'm not even going to buy. And so I just don't understand. I don't understand, like, how you can tolerate it. Yeah, okay, maybe if you're young, and I'm going off on my little tangent about this commercials. Yeah, by the time you get to up to 50, you have seen so many of these commercials over and over again, and they just seem like they talk down to you, like you're dumber and dumber. Like, I don't know. I I, I don't know. Okay, let's not talk about that. It's, yeah, we live in the capitalistic society, but they could at least make the commercials more entertaining or something. Not just a guy sitting on a park bench going, "You don't know anything about Wix," or Mr. Beast going, "I have a challenge for you. Go and install this on everybody's computer." That just blows my mind. I know. Why would you tell people to install stuff on their computer and make it a challenge? Like, I don't, like, that's just so wrong. I wouldn't want people to grab my computer and just install something because Mr. Beast challenged me, challenge somebody. Like, it's just, how could you do that? "I have a challenge for you. Go and install this on everybody's computer." Oh my god. They're just so, okay. Okay, now, okay, yeah, I've been triggered by myself. Okay, they're just so aggressive. They're like, "You need this thing." No, no, it's the opposite. And they've gotten so aggressive that you get this thick skin, and you just start blocking them out, and you don't listen, so they get even more aggressive. It just, it's too much. It's not the way to. A long time ago there was a movie called Truth in Advertising, and it'll come back, because one day there will be somebody sitting in there in the ad place, and they'll just be honest, and everybody will go, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing." Okay, so what I'm trying to do is, this takes two 9 volts in a series, and let's see, this I don't have there. What was I doing? I'm getting distracted. And yeah, it doesn't help that I make all the wires the same color, but it's not, this is not complicated at all. Okay, so this just goes over here. And then I want to put, you can always use the tape, but it's so much better. It looks so much classier if you use one of these. And I will try to make that kit on the other channel, the main one. I just wanted to put this here because I already posted a bunch of stuff on that other one. And then I had one other thing that I was going to tell you guys about. Okay, so let me just go ahead and get this. Okay, so yeah, I got, okay, so yeah, once I have it set up, I just really like to solder. I wish I could get a job doing that, but I don't think there's a lot of that in Indianapolis. But I mean, at this point, I don't even have a car, so it's like, if I can, I'm potentially going to be able to borrow a car, and I'll just end up probably getting a warehouse job, and that's fine, because they pay good, and that's just the way it is. There's Kohl's, Target, Amazon, Walmart, and Costco all here, and Aldi, and FedEx. So the warehouse stuff is happening, but it's just, okay, got that on there. I'm just trying to clean this up, and I have a little box for it, so we should do a part 2. It's far away over there. Okay, and then this, we just need to fix this on there, and I need another one of these. Um, I have one of the fake, well, I think I got it at Harbor Freight or something, Dremels, but there's nothing like the real Dremel. It has all kinds of crazy stuff with it. And, you know, here's a bunch of drill bits. And I did get these from my favorite place I like to talk about is Electronic Gold Mine. But, okay, so I don't have those organized. But, yeah, you just cut these, and then I'm going to solder them. Not to make, you know, like, oh, okay, I'll say it because I always say things that are just, I always say, you can count on me to say something that is just, okay, so Mr. Carlson's last video, his most recent one, I wish, like, he's just, like, trying to reach for people who are, but anybody who's, like, watching any electronics videos, he's just giving us these, like, low ball ones now. So he had a capacitor that you turn and adjust, and he had like an arrow pointing to, it's like going, what are these fins for? Or like, what are these? But it's like, everybody knows that that's the capacitor. It's not like it gets hot. I mean, maybe it does, but that's the capacitance turning in there. And I know he's got, once you know, they have the saying, once you go black, you don't go back. They should make one, once you go Patreon, you don't go back. Because once you got Patreon, you got Patreon money. I'm never going to do that. You can always count on me to just do this. They're going to get better. They're going to get better. They're going to get better. You guys. Okay, so I got this. And we will just, so it takes 2 9-volt batteries. I have tons of 9 volts that I was charging up here. So we're putting this together, and we'll get Sparky going because we do have to have some Sparkies. So I do need to go find the lighter and go ahead and do that. Like, I just used the lighter. I think Carrie said I could get a heat gun for cheap off Amazon, and I definitely should do that. Let me show you guys real quick before we leave here what else I was going to do. Yeah, I got a bunch of batteries, but I do have my scope, and you know how I keep showing this Atari thing? Well, it has a speaker out. Well, whatever. I didn't hook this up to the scope to look at, you know, because it makes those loud. That's my imitation. So, I could hook up the scope to these. So this is one of those sound wave, or it goes all the way from 1 kilohertz up to 1 megahertz. So remember that. So it's 1 megahertz, not 1 megahertz. It's 65 kilohertz. But if you have 1,000, it's 1,000 hertz. Or I'm sorry, it's if it's, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to go off on it. If it's 1 megahertz, it's 1 megahertz. You don't say 1 megahertz. But if it's 65 kilohertz, okay. My mom was an English teacher, you guys. You have to deal with me. Okay. So this does have, so I could hook these up to this. So these videos are coming. I know, like it, but it's like, why didn't I just do that to see what this looks like? Because it's so nice. It's so much nicer to visualize it. Okay. Oh my God, 24 minutes. I'm sorry, you guys. Okay. Well, this is on the second channel. So, yeah. So what we're going to see in the future is I will hook this up to this guy, and we can look at the waveform of that. But I'm worried that people might start getting tired of this on that channel, because the other channel, and then we'll have Sparky on there. And then I want to do this kit. So you have the inside information that this is the stuff that's coming up. And I do want to make more of an effort on it because we have a new year. It's a new slate. So, I have to fix my car to get a job, and I want to do that. But in the economy, the job market is not good. So people who don't have a job, I have a lot of skills. I have almost the biology degree. I have the 2-year electronics degree. Um, I can do art. I can do electronics. Um, I can work for 12 hours, even whatever. People just see me and are like, no, we're gonna pass on that shit. Okay, all right. Thanks for watching.